Most people marry for love. Emma Coronel married into the world's most powerful drug cartel at 18 years old. She wasn't just El Chapo's wife, she became his lifeline. His connection to the outside world when prison walls tried to silence him. His messenger, his courier, his voice. While her husband sat in maximum security cells, Emma moved freely across borders, delivered orders to cartel lieutenants, coordinated operations worth millions, smiled for cameras like a beauty queen while running an empire in the shadows. She had dual citizenship, American and Mexican. She could walk into any U.S. courtroom, sit front row at her husband's trial, and nobody could touch her. Until they did, because Emma Coronel made one critical mistake. She believed being El Chapo's wife made her untouchable. She was wrong. Here's what doesn't make sense. How does a teenage beauty queen go from small-town Mexico to running cartel communications for the world's most wanted drug lord? How does someone walk into U.S. federal courtrooms knowing they're being watched, photographed, analyzed, and still coordinate trafficking operations? And why would a woman who successfully facilitated her husband's most famous prison escape suddenly cooperate with the very authorities trying to destroy him? Because Emma Coronel learned what every cartel wife eventually discovers. You're never part of the empire. You're collateral, an asset to be used and discarded when convenient. And when the empire falls, loyalty only flows one direction. And it's never toward you. This is the story of Emma Coronel Aispuro. The beauty queen who became a cartel operator, orchestrated a Hollywood-style prison break, played the role of devoted wife in American courtrooms, and then did what El Chapo himself never did. She cooperated. Canela's Durango, a dusty mountain municipality where cartel connections aren't whispered, they're inherited. Emma Modesta Coronel Aispuro was born July 3, 1989, into a family deeply embedded in Sinaloa cartel operations. Her father, Inés Coronel Barreras, wasn't just connected, he was a regional operator managing trafficking routes through Durango's mountainous terrain. Growing up, Emma knew the business, not as some abstract criminal enterprise, but as family tradition. Uncles, cousins, neighbors, all part of the machinery moving cocaine north and money south. But Emma didn't look like a cartel princess. She looked like a model, petite, beautiful, polished. By her teens, she was competing in local beauty pageants, winning titles, attracting attention. In 2006, at 17, she was crowned Coffee and Guava Queen at the annual Canelas Festival. Small-town pageantry, modest prize, but it put her in front of the right, or wrong, people, including Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. El Chapo was 49 years old, one of Mexico's most powerful traffickers, father to multiple children by multiple women, on the run from authorities after his spectacular 2001 escape from maximum security. Emma was 17, a high school student, a small-town girl with her whole life ahead, and at that festival, El Chapo decided he wanted her. Some accounts claim it was love at first sight. Others suggest it was a strategic arrangement between her father and the cartel boss. A business transaction disguised as romance. On her 18th birthday, July 3, 2007, Emma Coronel married Joaquin Guzman in a lavish ceremony attended by cartel elite, corrupt officials, and family members who understood exactly what this union represented. She wasn't just becoming a wife, she was becoming infrastructure. Being married to El Chapo wasn't normal married life. No suburban house, no regular job, no simple domestic routine. Emma lived in a world of safe houses, armed guards, constant movement, and the knowledge that any day could end with bullets or arrests. In August 2011, she gave birth to twin daughters in Lancaster, California. Using her U.S. citizenship, she was born in San Francisco to Mexican parents to ensure her children had American nationality. The births weren't just personal, they were strategic. American-born children meant legal anchors to the United States, potential leverage, future options. But Emma's real value to the cartel emerged in 2014. February 22, 2014. Mexican Marines raided a Mazatlan condo, capturing El Chapo after 13 years on the run. The world's most wanted drug lord, arrested in boxer shorts, looking surprisingly ordinary, he was immediately placed in Altiplano maximum security prison, Mexico's supposed escape-proof facility. For most prisoners, that would be the end. For El Chapo, it was just an inconvenience. And Emma became the solution. Altiplano Federal Prison, Mexico's most secure facility, built specifically to hold high-value criminals. Constant surveillance, strict protocols, designed to prevent exactly what happened next. From the moment El Chapo entered, escape planning began, and Emma was the messenger. She visited regularly, playing the devoted wife, brought the twins to see their father, smiled for cameras documenting her arrivals and departures. But during those visits, information flowed. Messages weren't written or verbal, those were monitored. They were coded, hidden in seemingly innocent conversation, gestures, items delivered. Emma coordinated with El Chapo's sons and cartel operators outside. Plans developed over months. A tunnel, starting from a property purchased specifically for this purpose, extending over a mile underground, surfacing directly beneath El Chapo's cell shower area. The operation required engineers to design the tunnel, workers to dig it, equipment to reinforce the structure, GPS coordinates precise to inches, timing coordinated to avoid security patrols, millions in bribes to ensure guards looked away. Emma wasn't swinging a pickaxe, but she was coordinating the people who were. July 11, 2015. 8:52 p.m. El Chapo entered his cell shower area, the one blind spot in surveillance coverage. Cameras showed him there, then nothing. He climbed into a hole barely 2 feet wide, slid down a vertical shaft on a modified motorcycle rigged to rails, traveled through a professionally built tunnel with lighting, ventilation, and a track system, emerged in a building a mile away, vanished into Mexico's mountains. The escape shocked the world, embarrassed the Mexican government, made El Chapo a legend again. And Emma, she celebrated quietly, knowing she'd help orchestrate one of the most audacious prison breaks in history. But success came with a cost. Authorities now knew Emma wasn't just a wife, she was operational. January 8, 2016. Mexican Marines recaptured El Chapo in Los Mochis, Sinaloa, after a massive shootout. This time, Mexico took no chances. January 19, 2017. El Chapo was extradited to the United States to face charges in Brooklyn federal court. Trafficking, money laundering, murder conspiracy. And Emma, she attended almost every day of the trial. She sat in the courtroom front row, dressed impeccably, designer clothes, perfect makeup, looking more like a celebrity than a defendant's wife. Prosecutors presented devastating evidence, testimony from former associates, recordings, financial documents, details of murders, torture, trafficking operations spanning decades. Through it all, Emma sat quietly, stone-faced, loyal. She gave interviews portraying El Chapo as a devoted father, misunderstood, unfairly targeted. She became a media personality, Instagram following in the hundreds of thousands, fashion icon, the cartel queen playing victim for public consumption. But behind the scenes, authorities were watching her differently now. Not as a spectator, as a participant. They knew about the 2015 escape. They had evidence of her coordination, and they were building a case. February 12, 2019. El Chapo was convicted on all counts, sentenced to life plus 30 years at ADX Florence supermax. He'll die there. Emma walked out of the courthouse that day still free. It wouldn't last. February 22, 2021, Dulles International Airport, Virginia. Emma Coronel was arrested by federal agents. Charges: conspiracy to distribute cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, and marijuana, conspiracy to launder money, and critically, participating in a conspiracy to aid her husband's 2015 prison escape. The arrest stunned observers. Emma had attended the trial, lived openly, used her real name. American authorities had let her walk freely for 2 years. Why arrest her now? Because prosecutors had been building a case. Wiretaps, financial tracking, testimony from cooperating witnesses. They'd waited until the evidence was overwhelming. Emma faced decades in federal prison. Her children, now 10 years old, would grow up without either parent. Her family's cartel connections couldn't help her. She was in American custody, facing American justice, with American prosecutors who just spent years dismantling her husband's empire. And that's when Emma made the choice that separated her from every other cartel loyalist. She cooperated. Emma's cooperation wasn't dramatic testimony like other cartel figures. She didn't provide evidence against major traffickers or expose new criminal networks. But she gave authorities something valuable: confirmation. She admitted coordinating her husband's 2015 escape, confirmed she'd passed messages between El Chapo and cartel operators, acknowledged participating in trafficking operations. More importantly, her cooperation sent a message to other cartel families. Loyalty has limits. June 10, 2021, Emma Coronel pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges. November 30, 2021, sentencing hearing, federal court. Prosecutors had initially suggested decades in prison. The evidence supported it. But based on her cooperation, her lack of violence personally, and the fact she had young children, 3 years. 3 years for orchestrating a prison escape, for coordinating trafficking operations, for being operational infrastructure for one of history's most powerful cartels. It was remarkably lenient. And it revealed something crucial. Emma had provided information valuable enough to warrant significant reduction. September 13, 2023. Emma Coronel was released from federal custody. Time served plus good behavior meant she'd spent less than 3 years imprisoned. She was 34 years old. Her daughters were 12. El Chapo would never leave ADX Florence, and Emma's release created controversy. Victim families whose lives were destroyed by Sinaloa cartel operations questioned how she received such minimal punishment. Cartel watchers debated what her cooperation meant. Had she betrayed significant information? Or had she simply confirmed what authorities already knew in exchange for leniency? But the most interesting question is what happens now. Emma cannot return to Mexico without facing potential retaliation. She cooperated with American authorities in cartel culture. That's unforgivable regardless of what she revealed. She cannot live openly in the United States without security concerns. Rivals, angry family members, people who believe she betrayed El Chapo. Her daughters are American citizens but carry the Guzman name. They'll grow up knowing their father is serving life in supermax, their mother cooperated with authorities, and their family empire destroyed countless lives. Emma has reportedly been living quietly in Southern California. No social media presence, no interviews, no celebrity appearances. The beauty queen who married into cartel royalty now lives like every other federal informant, looking over her shoulder, wondering who remembers what she did. El Chapo sits in a cell 23 hours a day. No windows, no contact with other prisoners, no communication with the outside world. He'll die there. His sons, Los Chapitos, continued operations until some were arrested. The empire fractured. Violence continued. And Emma? She walked away. Got 3 years instead of 30. Came out young enough to rebuild a life. Some call it betrayal. Others call it survival. But here's the truth about cartel wives. They're never partners. They're accessories. Used when useful, blamed when convenient, discarded when they become liabilities. Emma coordinated an escape that made her husband a legend, attended his trial daily, played the loyal wife for years. And the moment she faced real consequences, she did what he taught her. Make the deal that lets you survive. She's free. Her daughters have their mother. She avoided dying in prison, but she paid a different price. Her name will forever be associated with cooperation. In a culture where loyalty is sacred, she broke the code. The cartel world she grew up in sees her as a traitor. The legal system sees her as a cooperator who minimized her role. Victims' families see her as someone who escaped justice. She's alive. She's free. She's raising her daughters. But she'll spend the rest of her life as neither cartel royalty nor ordinary citizen. Just another person who learned that in the drug trafficking world, loyalty is a lie, and the only person you can really save is yourself. Emma Coronel helped run El Chapo's empire, orchestrated his escape, then cooperated with authorities to save herself. Was she a victim forced into an impossible situation, or a willing participant who got off too easy? Drop your answer in the comments. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the cartel world, there are no happy endings. Just people who get out, and people who don't.